YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. Blue Eyes is tier 1, the sole best deck, but we're starting off with Memento. Memento has won a YCS, and we have full power Memento in Master Duel facing off against Snake Eye Fiendsmith, which was the best deck before Blue Eyes came out at full power. Are you ready? By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports the video, even if you were on in the background while you're doing laundry or working out. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We have Memento Maze activating to destroy itself, searching for any Memento card from our deck. We're now going to be maxing on the resolution of that. We're going to Ash Blossom, negate that Max C. Negate, but we're also going to add a Droll and Lockbird within the same window of you adding a card from your deck to your hand. So no more adding from the deck, but we have ways to get cards into the graveyard, then add from the graveyard to our hand. We're going to use the Memento Horse, popping itself, sending up to 2 to 3 cards in the deck to the grave. Send the Gaddock to reborn the Gaddock. Gaddock, add from the grave, not from the deck, add the Sleepy. Now with the Sleepy, if a card was destroyed this turn, we're going to special summon and then fuse it up with our hand or field into a Creation King. Again, we're going to send from the deck, not add from the deck, and then end our turn. What are our forms of disruption? In Graveyard, we have nothing, unfortunately. The Combined Creation requires you to have 5 other Mementos with different names from your hand or graveyard to summon this. But beyond that, we do have an Ash Blossom negate an interaction with the deck, Forbidden Droplet to negate a monster on the field, and then the Creation King itself can destroy itself plus destroy any other card on the field. Triple disruption. Engraver gets searching for the Fiendsmith Tract. We have a potential Ash Blossom play here, and that's exactly what we're doing. Will we cross out Designate, negate the negate mate? Yes, we will. Negate the Ash Blossom. And now we're left with a Creation King and Forbidden Droplet. We have, and how do we Forbidden Droplet and Creation King at the same time? We can, actually. We can activate to destroy, then chain Droplet, but we need something worthy of negating and destroying at the same time. So let's see. Let's come forth Engraver, which actually works out perfectly. You activate to destroy first, then chain Droplet. Engraver is going to attempt to send the Creation King, and from our 2 disruption, we're now down to nada, 0, a dead Forbidden Droplet. No, it's actually live because the Engrave Acheron's going to reborn off of being destroyed. One of your cards being destroyed. So we have 1 disruption left still. Maxi, hopefully drawing into a play. We got the Wedju Temple. This is the way. Had we not summoned that, we would have been out of plays. What the hell? We're going to grab a Golem from the deck off the Senjin. Golem's going to equip itself in the back row, send 2 back rows to come forth and summon the Doom Dragon. Doom Dragon on summon, send the Acheron to the back row, further going into a zombie vampire. We have to negate this. We have to. Yup. Forbidden. No way can we allow this to randomly mill into a Snake Eye card, a Diablo Star. It'd be over for us. So good negate on the Droplet mate. We have Engraver, further reborning. Oh my Jesus. The Acheron being summoned to turn on our Droplet killed us. Had we not triggered the effect, they would have just ended. Potential. I mean, they had summon a normal, summon a hand trap actually, plus the Engraver. They still could have made plays with sequence, to be fair. 54, 6,200 damage. It is not quite lethal damage with the Lacrima being sent to the grave to burn for an additional 1,200 damage. Little Knight is banishing away the Combined Creation. That is a massive problem. The Combined Creation greatly benefits from not being a light or dark, thus Bestials cannot banish it. But then the other downside is, what if they have DD Crow? What if they Little Knight banish it, and then we're in big trouble? Now we have double Monster Negate. Super Poly with no other card to discard. We have the Creation King banishing to grab the field spell, which would not really be doing much, so we're going to just negate. The field spell probably would have been kept in the hand to just set Super Poly with, and just like that, Snake Eye Fiendsmith taking a game 1 duel off of Memento. Let's hop into game number 2. Let's go. Now it's over. We're going to Anguish, add the horse in the deck. Anguish special, the horse summon itself onto the field here. Ash Blossom, negate the horse. Call by the grave, finger the ash. Negate. I really love the balance of the Mulcharmies over Max C. Oh my Jesus. I don't think they can make another Mulcharmy, right? We pretty much covered everything. The only thing we're not covering is summoning from the back row does not result in a draw from any of the Mulcharmies. Now, our forms of disruption under the Fool Loss, which we only drew one card off of, is pop 1 to 2 cards in the field with the Creation King. We can use the Mace to take control of a monster. We can Super Polyfuse the field. We can use the Bone Party to get, I guess, special summoned and try to pop it in a way, which could be the Twin Horn, which could pop multiple cards in the field. We have Forbidden Droplet. We have Super Poly. So it's about 6 forms of disruption I'm counting here. The Sleepy can pop the Twin Dragon. That's what can happen here. So we have Pop, Super Poly, Droplet, Steal, Wipe. Mace is going to take control of the Lurie before it goes into a Requiem. Ash is going to be negated by the Forbidden Droplet. And with more disruptions on the way, just like that, Game 2 victory for Memento. Oh boy, we have no hand traps, but we do have a board breaker, which in many cases, a board breaker is not as good as a hand trap. If you haven't noticed, from the start of Master Duel to now, the amount of disruptions we set up on turn 1 with the top tier decks is multi-layered. Where back in the day, we could use a single of the effect, Dark Lord No More, to negate the entire field of monsters, and then you're okay, right? But now, their negates are on the field of monster zones. They're in the back row. They're in the hand. They're in the graveyard. So when you have 4 different spots where all the disruptions are at, you no longer can use a Dark Lord No More, a single Droplet, a Lightning Storm. You can't just wipe away it all in one go. Promethean would be in the grave. Back row traps like Blue Eyes White Dragon. Blue Eyes White Dragon's also searching for Effect Veiler if their field gets negated. It's all over the place. Now, what are our forms of disruption here? We have Quadra Monster Negate plus 2 special summon activation negates. We have an Ash Blossom, a Droll Lockbird, a Little Knight Double Banish, and we have a Promethean Princess Engrave. I can't believe this. I don't have enough fingers. 11 disruption. And what did I say? Monster Zone disruption, back row disruption, hand disruption, and graveyard disruption. There's no one board breaker that could deal with at least 2 of those 4 different zones that are disrupting you. What the hell is that? 11. Negate. Forbidden Droplet, mate. We're gonna send 2. This does knock off a lot of disruptions. So if we had 11 and we lost 6, so we're now down to 5. 5 forms of disruption. We fully negated the monsters, but then we have the back row disruption now coming out to go into a Little Knight. Flame Burge is also gonna summon the Oak. Oh my gosh, speed this up. All right, there we go. Little Knight is here on summon. We're gonna get Banishing, Flame Burst trigger. Little Knight target the horse before it even activates to get popping. We're gonna chain the Goblin Biker to tribute off the horse to search our deck. We're gonna Ash Blossom negates. And we also had the Little Knight activating, so you have 3 more disruption. Promethean Princess, Little Knight secondary banish, and Droll and Lockbird is our 3 other forms of disruption. Poplar trigger, grabbing the Sinful Spoils. I think we need a contest to build a good board breaker, right? Can we do a custom board breaker contest? It's got to be balanced enough, though, right? Something that, similar to that effect. Maybe you have to lose a lot of cards in your hand if you want to just completely shut down everything from the opponent. Maybe lose your entire extra deck also. I don't know. What would be good? D Lotus is here, jumping off the field into a Max C, which we have Gamma limited to 1. No way. Negate the Max C mate. Now, Ogre is pretty good against Yubel. They have Nightmare Pain that you could destroy. They have the other card, the Spirit Gate. Imperm, negate the Spirit of Yubel, searching for the Nightmare Pain, which we had Ogre to use on anyway. Now, Imperm could have been used on Apollo, but Ogre can also be used on Apollo. Apollo activates to negate the Sage. You chain the Ghost Ogre. If it was not made with a Masquerina, it no longer negates, and it gets it off the field. We're going to Engraver from the deck here, Requiem attaching onto the Engraver, making our Necro-Quip Princess. Let's Engraver Reborn back in the field to now potentially make our Caesar. Caesar does require 2 Fiend-type monsters, but we're going to go into a Lord of Yama, which is also 2 Fiend-type monsters. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do with the Side-Frame Driver. You Purge with Imperm Engrave, which means it negates and destroys. Get that fool out of here. Now, Purge states that we cannot activate Dark, Water, or Fire monsters for the rest of the duel. No Ash, no Magna Hut. Oh boy. We have Sage searching for a Maiden. As we now go into the Spirit with Eyes of Blue, we have the Phantom of Yubel to negate a monster effect, plus Ash to negate, and an Ogre to chain destroy a True Light. We are not going to destroy the Spirit with Eyes of Blue, but we're going to change the effect instead of adding a Mausoleum to not. It's going to destroy Yubel instead. Now, with 2 other forms of disruption, we are ready with Ash to negate, an Ogre to destroy True Light. We had the perfect counter. Perfect. Negate and destroy. That's a scoop, right? How do you even play after that? You don't. It's over. We don't have Blue Eyes in Graveyard to reborn off of the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. No access to Blue Eyes. And we just lost our Spirit because of the Ogre destroying it. Damn. Unfortunately for Blue Eyes, there's another Ogre, though. Is that a GG or what? And you have to remember that True Light wipes away your field. There's a mindset of, let me summon a Spirit Dragon to protect my field from being destroyed by True Light. But you know what also protects your field from being destroyed by True Light that's not Spirit Dragon? Not having anything on the field when you activate the True Light, which we just had that opportunity. Maiden is going to not be chain link blocked by the Max C. Wow. Oh, it's straight up target the Maiden to reborn Maiden from Engrave. And then we're going to be able to get a Blue Eyes White Dragon Engrave. We are under Max C, though, so we don't want to further commit. Did we not activate True Light? Wow. We knew there was an Ogre. Okay. We have Majesty activatable, and we have Purge to get negating on a search. Let's go. You need a mod in chat? You have a question? What is it, mate? We have the Majesty on the activation of the field spell, wiping it out by revealing the Blue Eyes Engrave. We still have Purge. 1 for 1, we can't purge that. Purge is only on a search. D-Lotus, we can't purge that. Come forth into the Spirit of Yubel, setting up a Nightmare Pain, which I think is going to be a great use of the Purge. Wait for the activation to search, and just like that, we are going to negate and destroy because we have Majesty Engrave. Nicely done. Now, we're going to follow up the normal summon Ash Blossom, go into the Moon of the Closed Heaven. Ash Blossom is not a fiend, so we could not go into the Unchained Engine. As we have Requiem summoning from the deck, come forth into our Engraver. We're going to use the Requiem equip onto the Engraver. We're going to send both for the Necro-Quip, reborn the Engraver back onto the field. And as we now go into the Sequence, Fuse of the Graveyard into the Aerial Eater. Eat it up, on Fusion Summon, send a Fiend from the deck to the grave, getting the Grave Squirmer into the grave, which was cut off through the Nightmare Pain search, being negated by Purge, as we now go into Lord of Yama. So the Aerial Eater not only gets a D-Lotus Engrave, it also gets the Squirmer Engrave if something happens to your Nightmare Pain. Which is why the deck was not really hit by Beatrice getting banned, thanks to Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater is going to use the other effect, special summon this card back from the graveyard to further go into the Wave King Caesar. Very nicely done. This is exactly how Yubel should be played. We have the Unchained Soul of Rage going in onto the Maiden of White, activating to reborn from the grave as we use the Wave King Caesar to negate the activation of special summon. Negate. Now, ruling question is the Wave King Caesar. When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated that special summons a monster, negate and destroy. So can the Wave King Caesar negate and destroy True Light from reborning a Blue Eyes White Dragon? No, it cannot. Cannot negate the True Light because It's not the activation of the card, it's the activation of the effect, and this only negates the effect of a monster effect, where otherwise it only negates the spell and trap card. What kind of card? A spell and trap card. What kind of effect? A monster effect. Set up the Abominable. Wipe out the Maiden. True Light is going to get ogred. Okay, I'll hold on to my Wave King Caesar negate and just destroy the True Light with my ogre mate. Wipe the field of nothing, 2600 to the face, and then how are we going to play around this? This is a triple disruption. It deletes a monster into a Little Knight Banish, into a Little Knight Banish, into a Phantom of Yubel negate, into a Caesar negate, a special summon. We had one more material. Into a Nibiru, wipe the field. We had 6 forms of disruption, and what the heck? There's no game 3. Back-to-back ogre, deleting Blue Eyes White Dragon from the tournament. Lordy load. Now, Nicky Boy is known for playing Tenpai, got top 3 global with Tenpai in the latest Duels Cup, then won a Meta Weekly right after the Banlist. Then Blue Eyes came out, so he dropped Tenpai to play Rescue Ace, and then I think he lost with Rescue Ace against Blue Eyes last week, so now he's on to Blue Eyes. All right. A big question you have in a PvP game is, how do I counter this deck? How do I beat Blue Eyes? And one of the best answers in every PvP game is play what you're trying to counter and just see what people are doing to you. And just from you naturally learning the deck yourself and seeing how people are countering you, you're now going to naturally be a lot better against that deck. Now, what are our forms of disruption? Because it's quite a lot. We have the Veiler negate a monster, Imperm negate a monster, Drill Beam negate and banish anything, Purge negate a search. We have the Hieratic Seal, spin a face-up card back to the hand, and if you count the Magna Hut as a form of disruption, it is going to be 6 forms of disrupt. Wanted Seeker, grab the Diablo Star. Send the Diablo Star to summon Diablo Stars. We set up into the back row. Nothing is the Imperm negates. Now Kieran cannot dodge the impermanence there since the Diablo Star is not a fire, unfortunately. We still got some good plays. We have not used up our normal summon yet. We have Bonfire as the Purge negates the Bonfire. Negate. We still have plays. We have the Fire King Sanctuary here. We're going to wait for the Hieratic Seal to spin back the Lordy Load back to the hand as we summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck with the Drill Beam activatable. Are you ready to get Drill Beaming onto the Fire King Island? On the activation to pop the Kieran, we're going to banish it away. Now, unlike True Light, if banished, it wipes away the field of monsters. It doesn't have to go to the grave. Let's activate, say goodbye to the Diablo Star mate, ending our turn with a dead Kieran. Completely dead. I cannot believe Kieran is doing nothing. It's a freaking brick. We have Barrel on summon, setting up a load from the deck. And mind you, another good play potentially with your Hieratic Seal could simply be returning your True Light back to your hand. If you want to play around an Ogre, you activate it. They then chain an Ogre. You could chain Hieratic Seal, spin the True Light back to your hand potentially. We're going to grab another Drill Beam. So we played more than one Drill Beam in this build. This is the way. Magna Hut, banish away that Diablo Star. We are going to be setting up the Mausoleum. Reborn of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Special Summon monsters cannot activate for the rest of the turn here. Additional summon, come forth into the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. And just like that, 8,300 damage, and not during the duel, Gia. Snake Eye Ash into a Veiler negate, which is when we would use Kieran. Kieran dodged the Veiler, but unfortunately we don't have that here. So we're going to follow up with the Fire King Island, which the Ash Blossom will negate. And wow, we got clapped by 2 hand traps being perfectly used. What? We have 3 bricks in our hand? You gotta be kidding me. What the? Wow, just a Link Haribo and nothing else. Oh, this is such a bad situation. We're going to banish away the Fire King Island, take out the Link Haribo, follow up with the Barrel, setting up another Lordy Load from the deck. Of course, we can't activate a Drill Beam. While we have a Barrel on field, you want to make sure to recycle your Drill Beam. And this goes for if you have a way to gain access to your wishes, Try to keep Barrel on the field to get access to the wishes to then discard the drill beam so you could reset the drill beam back in the field. It doesn't play as well around hand traps when you do that, but it ensures you don't lose a card from your hand. Come forth, Blue Eyes White Dragon, trigger the Maiden Engrave, Reborn, further turn this into our Spirit Dragon. Now, True Light is going to be setting up a Majesty from the deck, 2,500 to the face, as we have Lordy Load summoning from the deck. Now, I think we have a new Blue Eyes card coming out soon that would have made this lethal damage. Do you want me to show you that real quick? Sorry to show you this. Let's see. So if you thought that Blue Eyes was over, there's even more. It's called Ancient something. Ancient, not released Synchro. It's this one. So what's going to happen is your Ancient Fairy Dragon and monsters that mention it can attack while in defense. So you Spirit Dragon for 25. You then Spirit Dragon summon this in defense. You attack for 33. And then we had True Light, which set a spell or trap instead of summoning a Blue Eyes, which would have been for game. 25, 33, 3,000 for game. Lethal damage when this comes out. Yeah. Yep. We have Volcanics, but we're going to be normal summon the Oak, Reborn the Snake Eye Ash here. We do have an activatable Drill Beam. We are waiting. Now, Drill Beaming the Oak would have seemingly been a great play, but we do have to fear a potential Kirin. We're going to use the original Sinful, summon from the deck. Wow, we're really holding on to that Drill Beam. As we're going to Poplar Trigger, equip itself into the back row. We're going to use the Spirit Dragon to negate, because we Chain Link blocked the Ponix instead of Chain Link blocking the Poplar to stop the Spirit Dragon, as we now have Majesty also non-target popping multiple cards on the field. 2 cards, get popping. Wipe it out. And no equip into the back, or so the Ash is not activatable. I think we messed up the Chain Links there. Yeah. Would we have still lost? Of course, yeah, but do carefully construct your chain links. I know from, maybe it's not muscle memory, just memory, you're always constructing the better effect, chain link blocking it with the worse effect, but then with the Spirit Dragon on the field, you then kind of want to swap it up. We're going to start this off with a mirror match. Maiden setting up the True Light into the back row, grabbing herself a Wishes. We have double impermanence. Wishes is going to be discarding the Ogre, getting rid of an Ogre. Oh my Jesus. Now, if I see my opponent discard an Ogre, I can't even begin to imagine how good their hand is. Now, I would not recommend imperming or using Veiler on a Sage normal summon unless you have another. So you do have to take that into context when using your hand traps. It does change how you use them based off of what other cards you also have, because this is the better negate. And it's not about negating Spirit, it's about negating the card. If you're negating the effect with Ash Blossom, so you're thinking, oh, negate Spirit, right? And people say that's good. No, you want to Veiler or Imperm Spirit, but did not use Ash. If you used Ash on this, that would be a bad play in most cases. What do we have here? We have a Dead Majesty. We do have Purge, we have Nibiru, and we have an Ash Blossom. Triple disruption. We're going to Purge, negate, do not destroy the Lordy Load, so the secondary effect will still be activatable here. You have Ash. Now, what's so important here, it's a very small detail. A lot of people would have kept Purge in hand. And if you did that, your Ash would now be turned off. Fire and Dark would not be activatable, but it is activatable because we set it onto the field. You have Spirit with Eyes of Blue searching for the Mausoleum here. Mausoleum it up, get ready to send from the deck, but first additionally summon the Sage, searching for our own Maiden. Was it a mistake to discard Ogre? Is Ogre better than Nibiru, maybe? Reborn the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Well, now the Nibiru is activatable. So let's see the impact of the Nibiru. Nibiru wipes out the field, but so does Ogre, kind of, here. But the Spirit Dragon would be able to negate the True Light from wiping out the field if you don't have a Chain Link block. And just like that, Ash Blossom negate the Wishes. The absolute best use of your Ash Blossom against Blue Eyes. Wipe out, say goodbye to the Spirit Link 1, Lordy Load, summon from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon here, which will trigger the Maiden, giving us another level 9 Synchro, or we could go into, instead, a Hieratic Seal if we were to turn the Maiden into a Link 1. And the big fat Nibiru gets whipped out, tributing off double level 9 synchro just like that. We still have Valor though. Oh my gosh. We could have big brained the opponent. If the delays were on point where the field was only lighting up after 5 summons and we felt like they didn't have anything else, we could have fake ended our turn. Then Nibiru would have tributed the Spirit Synchro, and then we would have used the Lordy Load into the Blue Eyes, into the Maiden, and still would have ended on the level 9 Synchro if we were to win that mind game with the opponent of pretending to end our turn. Maiden off the top of the deck, get roaring. We're gonna roar off from our deck here. We just have Valor. That's it, 1 Veil. What the hail as the Maiden triggers to Reborn from Engrave, Wishes of Eyes of Blue, turning our Blue Eyes White Dragon into a Tyrant. Now, important ruling here is the Tyrant after battling is going to target a trap card in the graveyard and set it. And the ruling is, does it still activate if I attack into a bigger monster? Because we really want to recycle a trap from the grave, get that purge back on the field. And yes, it does. But we don't have to worry about that. We're just gonna get wiping. We are gonna set a spell from the deck. We're gonna chain our True Light to the True Light to summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon from the grave. Yeah, it's dumb. Well, yeah, you could say it's a dumb ruling, but it is a good thing to know. And that is the scoop. Bro, no play. No play, brick. Now, we have a Purge is a brick here because we have 2 Purge. So what we have is Imperm, Purge, and Ogre, triple disruption. Hopefully a big Ogre onto a True Light, wiping out the entire field. Barrel searching, Imperm, negating. 2 more disruption left. Now, you have to understand, Ogre cannot destroy Lordy Load searching the deck. It can only stop the Lordy Load summoning a Blue Eyes onto the field. And there's that True Light. Now, before activating True Light to play around Ogre, we want to, or we're going for a crazy play. We're popping the Mausoleum instead. This could be risky. What if they have another Blue Eyes in the hand? Well, the Mausoleum's only activate. Well, the Mausoleum would be activatable if you had 2 Blue Eyes in the hand. You don't need Blue Eyes in the deck. So I guess maybe you can't say that definitively that it would have to only be the 1 Blue Eyes you have to account for. They could be trying to trick you here. Wishes, discard the Purge, as our Purge negates the Wishes. You had a Call by the Grave for the Ash, which would be used on Wishes, but you can't finger my Purge. True Light is gonna set up the Roar, and let's get roaring. Roar, summon from the deck here, and to then trigger the Maiden Engrave. Wait, we don't have Maiden Engrave? Did we Maiden already? What, what, huh? Okay, well, we're gonna go on Tyrant, recycle a trap Engrave. Now, here's something I want to know about why didn't we save Ogre for True Light? If they are already setting up a Spirit Dragon, your Ogre on True Light is not that good, because the secondary effect of wiping out the field is one of the best benefits of wiping out the True Light with the Ogre. Now, how do you stop a Spirit Dragon from negating the True Light Engrave from wiping out the field? Anything that's chainable to the True Light wiping the field. So what happens is, no matter whose turn it is, True Light activates, which then commands a response from the opponent to respond to True Light activating. You could chain a Kieran, a Maxi, anything, a Fool Loss, and then the Spirit Dragon on field cannot chain to the True Light because you cut it off. You chain link blocked it, and then their whole field gets wiped out. So do keep that in consideration when they're setting up the Synchro to play around Ogre on True Light. 2-0, let's go. Begin. Starting this off with the Lordy Load, Ash Blossom, negate the Lordy Load as the Crossout Designator negates the Ash. Now, it is a big risk to use Ash on the Lordy Load, because what if they have a Barrel in hand? What if they have a Maiden? What if they have a Sage, which then goes into the Wishes? Like, there's like, what, 9, 12 cards we could bridge into to make that Ash not a good play? We have Call by the Grave, Finger, the Maxi. Negate. Now that we do not have to worry about the Maxi, the Primate Roar is going to be summoning our Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, the Primate Roar in Graveyard is a form of disruption. It's kind of the opposite of Promethean Princess. Promethean triggers on special summon. The Primate Roar triggers on normal summon. And it's going to target your Blue Eyes White Dragon to then destroy a monster on normal summon that's less attack or equal. I think it's equal or less, or just less. It has to be less attack, not equal. We're going to Lubellion searching for a Magna Hut here. Drill Beam is activated right away, going for the Heretic Seal. But you know what? I'm going to hold my own Drill Beam. I'm not going to Drill Beam your Drill Beam, which potentially would knock it out completely from the duel if you don't play any other copy, which I think was maybe a great opportunity to take that risk. Lordy loaded up. We're going to negate and banish the Load Search, just like that. Now, unfortunately, we don't have access to Maiden. We're going to Magna Hut, banish away the Blue Eyes White Dragon. We still have to deal with potentially an Impermanence. To battle we go. The Magna Hut now ensures that we could search for a barrel during the end phase. Lubellion is an interesting tech in this deck. This is not the standard way to play Blue Eyes. But if we play a bunch of Bystials, theoretically we should be winning the mirror match. Or I would say in the mirror match, you want to focus on one word: grinding. If we can outgrind the opponent, if we can become the better grinder through having a branded regained, theoretically we should win the mirror match. Because every turn you're recycling Drill Beam, but in addition to the Drill Beam endlessly being recycled, you have regained, which should give you the upper hand to win it. We are setting up the Drill Beam from Engrave, special summoning the Seahorse, which not a lot of decks are playing Seahorse either. That's also a non-standard card. The Seahorse could send from the deck to the grave a Maiden if you're struggling to gain access to her. And just like that, with the Maiden in grave, if we could just summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, reborn her, then send her from the field to the grave to set up the True Light. The fact that she's activatable from the field or the hand is nuts. You now have our Little Knight on summon, banishing away that Lubellion. We don't want it to further be reborning from engrave. During the end phase, we're going to Druid Swarm, banish away the Maiden. We have an activatable Drill Beam. We have an activatable Little Knight. We're not going to Drill Beam, banish away the Druid Swarm, taking out our Little Knight. And that's it. We have no play. Well, during the end phase, we may as well. Since the Drill Beam is recyclable, I will be able to play it back onto the field on the very next turn. Only one person is grinding right now. Yusuf is not grinding. This is not a way to get grinding. What the heck? Magna Hut searched for a Druid Swarm instead of a barrel. But I think even if we did search for barrel, we'd probably be too far behind anyway. Just a bad situation for us. Let's hop into game number 2. And normally the Bystial hand trap deck wants to go second, but you chose to go first because you are not just a Bystial hand trap deck. You're Primate Bystial Fiendsmith. 3 decks in 1. Ash Blossom, negate the load. Now we're going to use the load to Dustin. You have to understand that special summon monsters for the rest of the turn cannot activate. So we do not have Dustin into Requiem, into the Fiendsmith plays. We just have Dustin, then pass. Imperm, Nibiru plus Max C, double disruption plus that Max C. We're going to discard the True Light, which is recyclable with the Maiden. A valid discard here. Sage on summon is going to be searching for a Veiler. As we now link this up into our Spirit with Eyes of Blue, where we're likely going to be using the Impermanence here. Negate the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. No field spell for you, no additional summon, just like that. Now, we have Nibiru, which is really good against Blue Eyes. Their ultimate Spirit Dragon cannot negate a Nibiru. Konami very carefully ensured that the card only negates an activation on the field, not anywhere. True Light is going to be setting up from the deck a Majesty. In response to our Roar, in response to the Max C, come forth Blue Eyes White Dragon. With at least one Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field, hand or grave, the Majesty is now activatable. We're going to Drill Beam, banish away the Lordy Load, set up the Heretic Seal, and wow, 4 summons. And then you kind of don't want to even use Nibiru against Heretic Seal, but you would still want to do it. It does turn off a disruption. We have Heretic Seal, we have Majesty, we have Veiler. Triple disruption. So I would want to encourage you, remember earlier we had Spirit Dragon plus Spirit Dragon, we got Nibiru. It would have been better and it would have been possible to instead Heretic Seal then make the Spirit Dragon, then get Nibiru, then the Hieratic Seal activates in graveyard to special summon from the deck. That would have been a better play. But if you summon a Magna Hut from the deck, it would not be activatable because you activated Lordy Load that turn. But just know that if Nibiru ever were to become more prevalent, then focus more on Hieratic Sealing. Lubellion searching for a Magna Hut. We have the Barrel getting negated from setting a load from the deck here. And we still have 2 other forms of disruption. We have Majesty to get poppin', and we have Hieratic Seal to spin back to the hand. Requiem is here. Requiem is going to be jumping off the field to summon from the deck our Fiendsmith Engraver, which could force the early use of the Hieratic Seal by threatening it. I'm going to send you to the grave. No, you're not. I'm going to tribute myself to spin a card you control back to the hand, and we do have a Majesty. Ooh, sending the Requiem to the extra deck is quite interesting. Instead of a body on field, Maiden's going to trigger. Reborn, of course, this is not going to be a form of disruption. Crazy Beast is a crazy summon. Generic rank 6 Xyz. Quick effect. Target a spell or trap on the field to attach it as a material. Yoink a True Light? What the? Is that what we're doing? No, we're going for the Majesty. Your Majesty is not mine because it's just going to be forcibly activated. What did you just do? You detach instead of something being destroyed? What? Let me read that. If a monster would be destroyed, detach a material instead. What? And then we're going to a Dark Knight Lancer. Holy moly. We're going to use the Engraver Engrave to reborn itself back to the field, returning back the White Dustin. As we further commit to the field with a Magna Hut, preemptively banishing just to get more bodies in the field to now go into an M7, which can target a card on either field, either graveyard, return it back to the hand. We're going to recycle the Engraver back to our hand. Engraver's going to be searching for a Fiendsmith Tract. Tract is going to be searching for a White Dustin, discarding a Lubellion or a Lurie. We're now going to Tract, activate to fuse with the hand. 2 Light Fiend monsters to make our Lacrima to Reborn Engraver from Engrave. We have a lot of damage on the field here. Oh my Jesus, 11,000 damage, but we're not done. We've only just begun as we now go into a Fiendsmith sequence. Fusing with the Grave to go into a Desiree. We're now going to activate the sequence to do what? Equip. When you equip, that triggers the Dark Knight Lancer to non-target suck up a monster. And we're going to suck up that Blue Eyes. It's mine. Desiree is going to preemptively negate the Maiden. Maiden is still going to attempt to activate because why not mate? With over 11,000 damage on the field, just like that. Lethal damage. Yusuf, I love this D. This is good. I'm going to be copying it right after the event. Nice. A different spin on Bestial Hand Trap. A big difference between Yusuf's deck and everyone else playing Bestial Hand Trap Control is he chooses to go first because he's playing the Primate cards. I like this. We have our Barrel against a Druiswarm and Nibiru. Druiswarm, if you're feeling frisky, you can banish a Blue Eyes. Otherwise, it's safer to go for the Maiden. And then Nibiru ideally will not be used here unless they, if they have a way to bridge into the Blue Eyes plays with Maiden, they definitely go into 5 summons. Now, what's interesting here is we chose to not make a Hieratic Seal because we were afraid that the Drill Beam would not be activatable. Now, the Hieratic Seal can summon a Blue Eyes from the deck to make the Drill Beam activatable. That's if a bunch of things don't happen here. What if the effect of someone from the deck gets ashed? What if it gets fingered? And then your Drill Beam's turned off, and if they have a Call by the Grave, you lose Drill Beam, and you lose the Hieratic Seal. It could be considered a lot less safe, where in the TCG, Call by the Grave is just at 1, and a lot of people don't even main deck the card because they don't have the threat of Maxi that they need to negate. We had Purge, Drill Beam, Ash plus Maxi. Lordy Load, in response to that, we're going to Purge it, negate but do not destroy it. This would turn off the use of our Ash Blossom, but we set the Purge before using it. Now we have Ash Blossom to negate the Maxi, and what we're left with is we still have our own Ash and Drill Beam to respond to their plays. A good response to the Requiem summon from the deck will be Ash Blossom negate, but we chose to not do that. Okay. What are we saving the Ash for? Requiem equipping onto the Engraver. We're going to send both to make a Princess. Now, something interesting happens here. we now get to draw 1. The Princess has this additional effect of if a monster is sent to the hand to the graveyard to activate a card or effect, you get to draw a card. You what, mate? Now, Ash will be negating the add from the deck, but the Princess does not care. We still get to draw here. Yoink, a Primate Roar. Engraver, we're going to return the Dustin Engrave back. Come forth. And we could make a Caesar here, or a Sequence, or a Crazy Beast, or we could get crazy. This is a quick effect. Crazy Beast on the attack. We're going to suck up that Lordy Load in response to the Drill Beam, negating and banishing the Crazy Beast. Yoink, into the grave it now goes. All right, what else we have? We have the newly drawn Roar off of the Princess to summon a White Dustin from the deck. Jerusalem banishing away the Princess, all within the battle phase, by the way. Say goodbye to the Barrel, which could be questionable. I'm going to be looking at, was that a good idea or not after this turn ends. Jerusalem's going to send the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Lubellion's going to set up the Regained as we further turn the field into Sequence. Oh my Jesus, we have only just begun our plays. Return 2 cards back to summon our Lacrima. Lacrima is going to be targeting the Engraver. We're going to be summoning it onto the field here. With that, we're now going to M7, which could recycle a hand trap. And what we're recycling is going to be our Ash Blossom back to our hand. And if you left up the M7, it maintains this pressure of we have to deal with the M7 or a hand trap gets used again. Now, it all makes sense. It didn't make sense until it now makes sense. And I'm going to explain to you what the heck I'm talking about. First, we're going to Regain, return the Blue Eyes back to draw a card here. Lordy Lode's going to summon Beast of Talwar. What the? Using this over a summoned Skull? Only the Master of the Sword among Fiend-type monsters is permitted to hold the Talwar. Damn. So what did not make sense was getting Barrel in the grave because on the field, it's not able to be normal summon and search and set up a load. Now, to be fair, a Drill Beam's already in the grave, which is recyclable with the Barrel on field. But by getting it in the grave and then banishing the Blue Eyes, so it required a bunch of steps we had to think out ahead of time. That ensures the Barrel will not be recyclable. With no Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field nor in grave, thanks to the Little Knight, Barrel doesn't add back, Drill Beam doesn't recycle, we recycled our Ash Blossom, we have an Ogre, we have a Nibiru, we have a Little Knight, Blue Eyes is in big trouble. Off the top of the deck, a dead Imperm, Barrel is not adding back. Damn. Clapped. 2-1 victory. So at the end of this event, if you're tired of Blue Eyes, consider playing Yusuf's deck. Gimmick Puppet's gonna fire off the I'm SETI, discard a card to search for the gold. King Sark plus draw an additional card. You do want to be ashing that effect. We're gonna send from the deck the Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers. We're gonna use the Bis Doll effect to summon from the deck. Oh my Jesus, what the heck is even going on here? We are now going to, with the Rogue Doll, you also want to be ashing that. If you know you're against a Gimmick Puppet deck, the field spell does not protect it. Now, here's a problem. What we just activated. Your opponent cannot target Gimmick Puppets with card effects this turn. The field spell would protect you from impermanence, not impermanence that is, but she does. It only protects you from monster effects. Puppet of Strings, put a string counter onto the Dark Strings. 33. If we could pop the Dark Strings, it's over. Let's rank up into Dark Strings for the 3rd time. Draw 3, burn for 3, lethal damage. Ogre was not enough. Damn. Primera, searching for Trudea. The opponent's got no disruption in sight, so this is full wombo combo if you normal summon a Primera. What's the ceiling of this deck here? Let's find out. Gargoyle into the background through the Trudea to summon itself onto the field to make a Primus. Primus is going to be searching the deck for an Emblema. Gargoyle is going to be chain link blocking an Ash Blossom here, where you would want to use Ash onto the Primera because the later effects likely do get chain link blocked. Got the Emblema Oath, which will now be activating to set up our other tuner. I would say one of the best ways to use Solemn Judgment and Blazar Dragon in a lot of cases is simply to negate a normal summon. Now, old Centruion normally could not negate a normal summon because we would only be able to summon the Blazar Dragon during the opponent's main phase after they normal summon, but with the new cards, we get it out early. And that's going to be a massive benefit here. Negate anything, including a normal summon. We have draw a card with the Try, which could then go into another Synchro Summon play. We then have the Drone Lockbird, we have a Veiler, we have about Quadra Disruption, unless you call the Bestial another Disruption, so we'll just count that as 5. 5 Disrupt. King Sark, Trudea, and a Try are going to be popping off. So we're first going to Trudea because we don't get hit by a big Maxi. Make sure you separate them. By separating their special summons, they don't get that big draw 3. Now, stand up Centruion, come forth into Crimson Dragon, which we're going to target the Auxilla or the Blazar to go into maybe another Blazar. Blazar's not a hard once per turn. 2 Blazar, 2 effects. Let's go, mate. Discard is sent from the deck. The first Blazar is going to negate. And did we draw into another form of disruption? We drew into, with the Atry, what did we draw into? Activate, draw, what was the resolution? We drew into a Lubellion. This is an incredible card. It's so good you have to negate it. Send Gimmick Puppets with different names from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls +1. So that's send 3 cards, which would then put your opponent in a situation where they can't respond to your activations, can't target your monsters, and set up a monster that could reborn. Otherwise, the Blazar Dragon would not be able to negate anything, so we have to negate this. Could we have Magna Hut? No, they would have no body in the field, so we could not Magna Hut early to get rid of those cards. Now we're left with a Veiler and Drone Lockbird and a Bestial. We're going to add back the Rogue Doll. You need to Ash this, which we don't have. Rip. Summon from the deck, come forth into Machine X. We're going to Veiler, negate the Machine X. As we're going to Cattle Scream, detach a material off the Machine X, summon itself from the hand onto the field, going into another Machine X. You have 2 disruptions here. We're going to detach, search our deck for the Chaos Force, which we could, of course, now Drone Lockbird. Now we're left with a Magna Hut. We're going to rank up Exceeds this into a Giant Hunter. Once per turn, detach a material, target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. And, of course, burn for 3k damage. Now, Primus. Off of your card leaving because of your opponent's card effect, reborn from the grave, and it has an additional effect of, if it's not summoned from the extra deck, it cannot be destroyed by battle. So by card effect, we have to deal with this. We just have the Magna Hut. We're going to further link this up into the Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll. We're going to Magna Hut right now, banish away the Machine X Engrave before it's able to add back the rank up magic. Now from the deck, we're going to be getting the Fiendish Knight. Add from, we're under Droll. Like, what the heck? We played around Droll. We couldn't add it from the deck. We sent from the deck to the grave, which adds from the graveyard back to our hand. That is crazy. As we now use the secondary effect of the Condolence Puppet, we're going to target a card, and it cannot be, destroyed? Yeah, we're scooping. Both Blazar Dragons come back during the end phase. We did the best we could through 5 forms of disruption. Turn that 5 into 4, and we probably would have won that turn. Nibiru and Ash. And we have Field Spell. 1 Field Spell is full combo. And the Field Spell states, Gimmick Puppets you control are unaffected by monsters. So you can't Nibiru the Gimmick Puppets. You can't Ash Blossom the Gimmick Puppets. Is this a GG? No. There's hope that the Ash is correctly used on a Gimmick Puppet that, what's the key word here? Key word is you control. So if he activates a Gimmick Puppet that he does not control, meaning the field, then we could be fine. And that's going to be the Rogue Doll from the hand to summon itself and another body from the deck. A huge Ash play. Let's see what's the way. We also have Serenir. Serenir could banish a card from the graveyard, which could help deal with the Machine X. Generally the good hit here. This is scary, right? I mean, we want to not have the field spell on the field. He's searching the field spell, but he already has the field spell. This is a huge debate. You always want to look at your hand and think, how can I bait my opponent with other plays? Now, what's bad about this is it plays in a Droll. Droll is prominent in the TCG. You would never want to do this, bait with a Droll effect, because then you could just lose the duel. You're allowed to go through. We're not taking that bait. I don't think so, mate. Oh, we ashed the field spell, which is a gamble. A huge gamble, because we know we could ash the Rogue Doll, which they're going to be going into. What if what they were searching for, they already have in their hand other plays, but they happen to not have it? So now we are going to cope on a triple tactics talent draw 2. The entire first turn kill play is off of this triple tactics talent draw 2. FTK! No! What the? You didn't draw. Set impulse. Oh my Jesus. This is what you call a high roll play. You have to get so lucky for Ash on the field spell to be the correct play, because I think in more cases than not, you don't Ash that. No. If you simulate 100, 1,000 duels, I think in most of the majority, Ash on the field spell is bad. But then sometimes it's a blowout, as we saw there. We have Trudea setting up into the back row. Dominus Impulse is going to negate the effect to special summon. Negate. Primera. We do have the Emblem O still. We have Serenir, which will be used alongside the Primera here, going into a Chaos Angel. Or a Baron de Flor to negate and also being able to destroy a card in the field. We're going to be sending from the deck a Lubellion, wipe away that Red Reboot, which Red Reboot is great against Impermanence, because the field spell doesn't protect you from Imperm, thus the in-hand Imperm you want to get negating with. We're going to get Swingin', a Try, and Baron de Flor. Centruion is not known for being able to one-turn kill. We do have the Trudea alongside the Try for another form of disruption here, plus the Baron de Flor and the Nibiru. Now, we are negating what here? The activation. And the activation of the card is when you get to add a Gimmick Puppet from your deck to your hand. So let's read this. You can only activate once per turn. Well, if you negated my activation, then I didn't activate it, meaning I could activate another field spell. Uh-oh. You can only activate one, but you negated the activation. Trudea, come forth, summon for the back row. And this is why negating the effect in many cases is better. Negating the effect does not work in the damage step though, so that would be where the Baron de Flor is better off negating the activation. Also negating the effect of a Lordy Load. Lordy Load stays in the field. Negate the activation of a Lordy Load, it now goes to the graveyard even if your activation negate would not destroy. We are going to Little Puppet, send the Rogue Doll, and this is where you Ash. The field spell doesn't protect it, it's in the hand, it summons itself on the field, and from the deck. Well, we got Dissipator, mate! Negate, just like an Ash Blossom. Negate. Nicely done. No, the Fiend. Holy moly. Crimson Dragon into the Dissipator. Negate the Rogue Doll in hand with the field spell giving you full protection from monster effects only to the Gimmick Puppets you control. 2-1 victory, surviving first turn kill. With that YOLO Ash on field spell. Oh my cheese. And so within that same duel, Baron de Flor negated field spell. We played another. Ash negated the field spell. We could not play another. Now, the Ash negates an effect. Ghost Bell negates the activation. If we could use Ghost Bell on the field spell, they would have then been able to activate another one. Snake Eye Ash on someone searching for the Poplar. We have Ash. We have Ogre. Wow, how did this happen? Ash and Ogre and we used nothing. That's crazy. Okay. Ooh, okay, well, sometimes you just wait for the good use of Ash and that never... Do you remember what I said? This doesn't work. It don't work. Just surrender. Just surrender. Just scoop. That's it. Nope. We're not giving up. Typhon is here. Promethean's the biggest counter Typhon. So we finger her. Negate. Very well done, mate. Now, can you chain Divine Temple to the called by to summon the Masquerena because the Flame Burst can't summon Masquerena because Typhon's on the field? You could do that if you're good friends with the head judge at your event, because you are cheating. This is within the trigger window of being able to do that. You'd have to Promethean and Divine in the same chain. All right, so there goes Little Knight Banish on Typhon. Say goodbye to the Flame Burge. Nothing, can't activate Engrave because you're 3,000 attack. Apollo, negate the Typhon mate. The effect of Typhon is we can't summon for the rest of the turn, so we don't have any crazy Goblin Biker play of Tribute and summon a Goblin Biker after making your Typhon plays. Typhon needed to maybe either be a trigger effect on summon to play around a Promethean, or maybe allow a little bit of summoning after you summon it. I don't know, man. This was not it. Link Karibo onto the field, Poplar trigger, equip the Flamer's Dragon into the back row, send it to summon a Doom Dragon, which cannot activate, but it's big enough to just swing over the Typhon. Would it be too broken if Typhon was 3,100 attack? It stops 3,000 from activating, and then it's bigger than someone exactly at 3,000. Is that too much? Maxi is here, Goblin Biker. Tribute off the Maxi with an attempt to add or special. I don't know what you're doing, so I could just negate it, because you may special summon. Well, the Memento Fusion, yeah, nope, nothing to use it with, of course. And let's hop into game number 2, where we now get to go first. Imperm, negate, Memento Goblin Mate. We're going to tribute it off. Now, an important thing to understand against Memento is a lot of their cards are not trigger effects. They don't activate on summon. They activate in an open game state. And what's important to note about that is if you wait for them to activate and then chain an Impermanence or a Veiler, they have so many cards, 9 to be exact, where they could chain to your Impermanence to dodge the Impermanence, where instead, think about Imperming early. They summon, you Imperm, they can't chain Goblin Biker to dodge Impermanence. Their effect is now negated whether they have a Memento Fusion, the Bone Party, or a Goblin Biker Grand Breakout. I'm not saying it's the definitive way to definitely play against the deck. It's a consideration you want to think about doing. Ash, negate. Do you get watch time for audio only? I think so, my friend. I appreciate you for listening to me on audio. Thank you. Now, what happened here? Why did it matter that we dodged the Imperm? Well, what we were supposed to do is summon another Goblin from the deck, which would have been popped by the Goblin we had on field, but that the Ash then negated us summoning a Goblin that would have been popped by the Goblin. All right. Now, obviously, if you Imperm early, I Goblin Biker into another Goblin, I now get to activate that newly summoned Goblin. It's more important if they had the Bone Party, which they probably would have not gone into the Goblin, they go into another play, or if they had a Memento Fusion. All right, we have the Golem putting itself in the back row. Ghost Ogre is going to stop the Golem from summoning and searching for the Wedju Temple that we already have in our hand. A one of. We got the one of here, setting up the Senjin into the back row, summon itself to then grab from the deck another Senjin. This, like, what happened to Konami not allowing the same name to search for the same name? Did we forget to put that restriction on the card? Because that alone, I think, would have killed this engine. Ash, negate the Zombie Vampire Mate. Now, what do we have from here? The Goblin Biker requires us to have a monster on field to even activate it. And now Diablo Star is full freaking combo. Okay. Original Sinful into send it to the grave to summon the Ash. Ash on summon, grab a Poplar. Please put me out of my misery. Grab the field spell, boost. As soon as you get 8k, just, okay. You scooping was another way. Yep. Either just go for quick lethal, quick scoop. Timeless, I was rooting for you, my friend. I'm very happy that you brought Memento to the event. Please do it again next week. We need more Memento players. Let's go. Tracked. Add the engraver. We have Imperm, and that's it. So our use of Imperm will likely be used on a sequence. Sequence will be the way. So let's speed this up. Come forth, Engraver from the deck, Magna Hut, Banish, and Engraver. We're going to Magna Hut, activate to search in the end phase. And now we Imperm. Negate the sequence effect of fusing with the Grave. The Engraver effect of Reborning has not been used yet, so let's Reborn it back onto the field here. Now, it's worth noting that for some reason, Master Duel makes a ton of money on mobile. I spent all my money on Steam. Now, the point I'm getting at is normally Master Duel makes around $3 million a month on mobile. Well, the month that DPE came out, for some freaking crazy reason, it made $8 million. It was like $7 to $8 million in that month of this release when everyone started putting this in their deck. Insanity. We got non-target poppage, we have Ghost Ogre, we have Baldrake, triple disruption, quadra if we count the Baldrake banish on a summon from the extra deck. We're gonna non-target pop the Lordy Load, and then get fingered. No, you did not finger DPE. We're gonna hold on to the finger, better used on Ogre, to be fair. So we have Ogre, Baldrake banish, and then Baldrake banish a monster from the extra deck. We're gonna grab from the deck the Mausoleum, which will then send from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're gonna Baldrake banish that fool away. Now, a lot of people could be thinking, why do I keep on seeing the Bestial preemptively banishing a Blue Eyes? Generally, in Yu-Gi-Oh, the idea is you want to wait for the last possible moment to activate a card effect. Why not in response to them trying to summon it? Well, what happens when they summon it? There's now no monster on the field because this tributes itself, and with nothing on the field, Baldrake is no longer a quick effect. So do remember that if you want to banish the Blue Eyes, you gotta do it early. We have Roar, roaring the Blue Eyes from the banish pile back on the field here. We do have Ogre, and we do have Baldrake to banish a monster summoned from the extra deck. Ogre, wipe the True Light, which then would wipe the field, but the Ogre then gets fingered. Negate. We are at 6,000 life thanks to the Anaconda. Is that going to put us in lethal? We're out of here. I'm out. Nope. Bro, your DPE's coming back next turn. You knew you were going to lose right then and there? That's it. You didn't even wait for DPE to come back? He was like ready to get tagged in. Black Metal Dragon into the Striker to trigger the non-once per turn Black Metal when sent to the grave to search our deck for the Red Eyes Darkness Metal, banish away the Striker, activate to reborn the Black Metal back on the field as we now Engraver search for a Tract. We have a Purge plus an Ash Blossom. We're going to Ash Blossom negate the Tract. Now, both Ash and Purge can negate Tract, but only Ash can negate a Requiem summoning from the deck. We're now going to go into a Hieratic Seal. With Purge in our hand, we're going to just use it. All right, just like that. Negate. And it's important to note that you may be thinking, is Decade implying you should have Purged first? If you Purge before Ash, you now cannot use Ash. It's turned off for the rest of the duel. Sage on Summon, searching for a Maiden. As we now go into our Spirit with Eyes of Blue, a good use for our Impermanence here. This ideally cuts off access to a second Sage and a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the grave to then get onto the field. Just think of the Link 1 Spirit as being a normal summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. Spinning the Spirit back into the... okay, sure. I mean, it was threatening it, so we did not want it to destroy it by battle. We're now going to go into main phase 2 as the Ogre, the MVP of today's event. If the best deck is Blue Eyes and Ogre is one of the best hand traps against it, why not use and abuse it? We're going to use best use of Ogre into best use of Ash. This is not the first time we saw this, and it will not be the last time we see this. If you get to Ogre and Ash in the same turn on those two cards, it will most likely be a blowout if they don't have access to the Primite, of course. Let's get to it. Celestial, with his big titties, can pop a Lordy Load in the field, right? Attack, activate, pop a continuous spell. Libellion setting up the Regain. Baldrake is going to banish away the Maiden. Regain, return the Maiden back, draw a card. Can we set up lethal damage here, please? Surely we can. Lacrima should be viewed as a 3,600 attack monster because it has that extra 1,200 burn. So we just have to deal 6,800. Once it's 68, we win mates. Is this it? 37, summon Lacrima, reborn onto the field, and then that's game. Yep, there you go. Lethal damage once we get Lacrima in grave. Pop, pop, bop them, send to the grave, spin back, burn for 12. Many people theorize that Lacrima's only banned in the TCG because of this. Time rules. Burn, then win in time. The heck is a Max Metalmorph deck? We do have Veiler. Veiler on Sage is a high roll play, and seemingly it worked out. That was the way. Very nice. What makes this bad? Well, they have 2 Sages, 3 Maidens, 3 Wishes. That's 8 cards. So if you want to do the math of 4 cards in the hand, one of them being 8 other cards for this to be a very bad Veiler, that's how you would decide if you Veiler a normal summon Sage. Because another Sage would then just be normal summonable. As we go into the Spirit, search for Mausoleum, then additionally summon the Sage, which is not a hard once per turn effect. Now, one of those 8 cards is obviously not in the hand, so it turned out to be a good negate. Blue Eyes White Dragon, and you know, sometimes when you are desperate, you're in a bad position, maybe your hand's not ideal, the play could be to go for the high roll negate, just try to get lucky. It's like, this hand sucks. I need a blowout. We got a Veil or something non-ideal in possibly a big blowout play. And we saw that earlier also against Gimmick Puppet, where it surprisingly worked. Didn't have a single Gimmick Puppet in the hand. We have the Black Metal, which needs to go to the graveyard to, we could follow up, tract, maybe Lurie, try to do something with that, or just leave. Okay, 2-1, Blue Eyes wins it. Let's go. YouTube, that was the top 16. We're going to be advancing to the top 8 grand finale and top deck list right after, where we're going to pop this off right away. Tier 1 best deck, Blue Eyes White Dragon against Centruion. Well, I mean, Centruion got to the top 8, so it should have a chance, right? Find out.